I spent the first 25 years of my life wishing I had a different mother. I know that is a terrible thing to say. I know it goes against every law of nature and gratitude. But I want to be honest with you because the guilt I carry is heavy enough to crush a mountain, and the only way I can breathe is to confess. My mother was simple. That was the polite word the neighbors used. Slow. That was the word the kids at school used. Stupid. That was the word I used in the dark privacy of my own mind and sometimes to my eternal shame to her face. She was like a child in a woman's body. She spoke slowly with a slight slur. She struggled to read anything more complex than a cereal box. She counted on her fingers when she paid for groceries. She laughed at cartoons that were meant for toddlers. She wore mismatched clothes because she liked the colors. I was the opposite. I was sharp. I was quick. I was valedictorian. I was the boy genius who was going to escape this small town and his embarrassing mother. I treated her not like a parent, but like a burden, a pet that needed to be fed and walked. I rolled my eyes when she tried to hug me. I shushed her when she tried to sing. I made her wait in the car when I went into stores because I didn't want my friends to see her. 3 months ago, she passed away from a sudden aneurysm. I didn't cry at the funeral. I stood there looking at the few people who came, mostly old neighbors who pitied her, and I felt a sense of release. I thought, finally, I am free. I don't have to explain her anymore. I don't have to apologize for her anymore. I went back to our crumbling Victorian house to pack up her things. I wanted to sell the house quickly. I wanted to erase the memory of my shame. I went up to the attic. I had never been up there. It was dusty, filled with cobwebs and the smell of dry rot. I expected to find junk, old toys, broken furniture. Instead, I found a library. In the corner, under a tarp, was a mahogany desk. And on that desk were stacks of leather-bound journals, scientific papers, and a framed diploma from a prestigious university. The name on the diploma was my mother's name, but the title before it was Doctor. Dr. Evelyn Vance, Ph.D. in theoretical physics, summa cum laude. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud in the empty attic. I thought it was a joke, a prop. My mother couldn't balance a checkbook. My mother couldn't pronounce the word spaghetti without stuttering. Theoretical physics, impossible. Then I opened the journals, and the floor dropped out from under me. If you have ever judged someone based on their surface, if you have ever felt superior to your parents, or if you have ever taken the mind you have for granted, please hit that subscribe button. You need to hear this story. It is a ghost story, but the ghost isn't dead. The ghost is the person I killed with my arrogance. My story begins in the 3rd grade. That was the year I realized my mother wasn't like the other moms. We had a parent-teacher night. All the other mothers were dressed in suits or nice jeans. They were chatting, laughing, reading the bulletin boards. My mother showed up wearing a bright yellow raincoat, even though it wasn't raining, and rain boots. She was holding a plastic bag full of homemade cookies that were burnt around the edges. She walked up to my teacher, Mrs. Gable, and tried to speak. Hello, I am Leo's mommy cookies for you. She thrust the bag at the teacher. Mrs. Gable smiled, that tight, pitying smile I would come to know so well. She spoke to my mother slowly and loudly, like she was deaf. Thank you, Mrs. Vance. Leo is doing very well. My mother clapped her hands. Good boy, Leo smart, not like me, Leo smart. The other kids were giggling. I was shrinking into my seat, wishing I could dissolve into the floor. I grabbed her arm and hissed, Mom, stop it, let's go. I dragged her out of the classroom. In the hallway, I yelled at her, why do you have to be like that? Why can't you talk normal? You are embarrassing me. She looked at me with big, watery eyes. She didn't get angry, she just looked confused and sad. Sorry, Leo, sorry, I try. She always tried, that was the heartbreaking part. She tried so hard to be a normal mom. She tried to help me with my homework, but she would stare at the math problems with a blank expression, her brow furrowed, biting her lip until it bled. I would snatch the book away. You don't get it. You are too stupid to get it. Just leave me alone. She would retreat to the kitchen and make me a sandwich. It was the only way she knew how to be useful. peanut butter and jelly cut into triangles, the crusts cut off. Here Leo eat brain food. I ate the sandwich, but I didn't taste the love. I only tasted the resentment. As I got older, the gap between us widened. I became obsessed with academics. I read Nietzsche, I read Hawking, I read Tolstoy. I used big words just to confuse her. I delighted in making her feel small. Look, Mom, I would say, holding up a book on calculus. This is what smart people do. Do you even know what a derivative is? She would smile, a lopsided, gentle smile. No, I don't know, but you know, my boy knows. That makes me happy. I hated that smile. I wanted her to fight back. I wanted her to be an authority figure. Instead, she was a cheerleader for a game she didn't understand. When I got accepted to Harvard on a full scholarship, she threw a party. She bought a cake from the grocery store and wrote GUD job Leo on it in icing. She spelled good as GUD. I looked at the cake and felt sick. I couldn't even post a picture of it online. I scraped the icing off before I ate it. I left for college and I didn't look back. I told my new friends that my parents were dead. It was easier than explaining her. It was easier than introducing them to the woman in the yellow raincoat. I graduated, I became a researcher. I lived in a world of logic, data, and intellect, a world where my mother didn't fit. When she died, I felt like a heavy coat had been taken off my shoulders. I could finally stop hiding. But then, the attic. I sat on the floor holding the diploma. I picked up the first journal. It was dated 1988, 2 years before I was born. The handwriting was elegant, sharp, angular. It was nothing like the scrawl I saw on my birthday cards. October 4th, 1988. The symposium went well. Dr. Higgins challenged my theory on dark matter density, but I think the equations hold up. I am close to a breakthrough. If I can prove the variable regarding time dilation, it will change the field forever. I read it again and again. My mother, the woman who couldn't read a menu, was writing about dark matter density. I flipped the pages. They were filled with complex mathematical formulas. Pages and pages of calculus that even I, with my advanced degree, struggled to follow. She was brilliant. She wasn't just smart, she was a visionary. I found a photo tucked into the journal. It was her, but she looked different. She was standing at a podium, wearing a sharp blazer, glasses, her hair pulled back. She looked fierce. She looked formidable. She was pointing at a chalkboard covered in equations. Who was this woman and where did she go? I dug deeper into the box. I found a newspaper clipping from 1989. Local physicist Evelyn Vance named rising star in science. And then underneath that, a police report, dated June 1990. I was 6 months old. Single vehicle accident, Highway 9, driver Evelyn Vance, passenger infant male. I read the officer's notes. Vehicle lost control on black ice. Driver appears to have unbuckled her safety belt to shield the infant in the back seat as the car spun. The vehicle impacted a tree on the driver's side. The driver took the full force of the impact to her head. The infant was found unharmed, shielded by the driver's body. The driver has sustained massive traumatic brain injury. Survival is uncertain. I dropped the paper. I couldn't breathe. The dust in the attic suddenly felt like it was filling my lungs, choking me. She wasn't born simple. She was a genius. She was a star. She had a mind that could have unraveled the secrets of the universe. And she traded it for me. In that split second, when the car was spinning, when she knew the crash was coming, she didn't think about her physics. She didn't think about her Ph.D. She didn't think about her future. She unbuckled. She threw her body over mine. She let her brilliant, beautiful brain be smashed against the frame of the car so that my skull would remain intact. She didn't lose her mind. She gave it away. She paid it as a ransom for my life. And I spent 25 years mocking the empty shell she was left with. I called her stupid. I called her slow. I was mocking the sacrifice. Every time I rolled my eyes at her stutter, I was rolling my eyes at the injury she took to save me. I looked at the journals again. The handwriting stopped abruptly on the date of the accident. Then a few pages later it started again, but it was different. It was the shaky, childish scrawl I knew. Home head hurts, baby Leo is safe, good learning to write, again hard forgot, words but Leo is safe, that is, only things that matters. She knew. Even in her damaged state, she knew what she had lost. She remembered that she used to be able to write. She remembered that she used to be smart, and she had to live with the frustration of that loss every single day. But she never complained, she never told me, she never said, I used to be a doctor. She never said, I did this for you. Why? Because she didn't want me to feel guilty. She didn't want me to look at her and see a tragedy. She wanted me to look at her and just see Mom. She protected me from the truth of her sacrifice, just like she protected me from the impact of the crash. I found a letter at the bottom of the box. It was addressed to Leo when you are grown. It was written in the shaky hand, but the thoughts were clear. It must have taken her weeks to write it. My dearest Leo, if you find this, you know. Don't be sad, please don't be sad. I loved my work, I loved the stars and the numbers, but when I held you, I loved you more. The numbers were cold, you were warm. When the car slipped, I had a choice. It was an easy choice. The math was simple, one life for another. I chose you. I know I am not the mother you wanted. I know I embarrass you. I see the way you look at me. It's okay, I am not smart anymore, but my heart is the same. I gave you my intelligence. I like to think that my smarts didn't disappear, they just flowed into you. When I see you read, I feel like I am reading. When I see you succeed, I feel like I succeeded. You are my greatest theory. You are my best experiment. Don't feel guilty, just live, be smart for both of us. Love, Mom. I laid on the floor of the attic and I screamed. I wailed like the baby she saved. I realized that I am not a self-made man, I am a scavenged man. I am built from the wreckage of her brilliance. My intelligence, the thing I was so proud of, the thing I used to belittle her, it was a gift she bought with her own brain. I thought about the GUD job cake. I realized how much effort it must have taken her to write those letters. It was a cognitive marathon for her, and I scraped it off. I thought about the peanut butter sandwiches, brain food. She was literally trying to feed my brain because she knew how precious a mind is, because she knew what it was like to lose one. I am the villain of this story, there is no way around it. But I am telling you this because I don't want you to be the villain of yours. We judge our parents so harshly. We judge them for their flaws, their slowness, their lack of coolness, their inability to understand our modern world. But we don't know the history. We don't know what they gave up. We don't know what parts of themselves they chopped off to make room for us to grow. Maybe your mother isn't a secret physicist. Maybe she really is just a simple woman, but I guarantee you she has sacrificed. She has given up sleep, she has given up dreams, she has given up her body, she has given up her comfort, all for you. And what do we give them in return? Eye rolls, sighs, missed calls, shame. I can never apologize to her. I can never tell Dr. Evelyn Vance that I know she is a hero. I can never tell her that I am proud to be her son. All I can do is tell you. If your mother is still alive, call her. If she is slow, be patient. If she tells you a boring story, listen. If she embarrasses you, hold her hand anyway. Because you have no idea what that hand has held back for you. I am going to frame her diploma. I am going to hang it in my office right next to mine. And when people ask me about it, I am not going to say it's my aunt's or it's a mistake. I am going to say that is my mother. She was the smartest physicist of her generation. And she was the greatest mother who ever lived. I am going to finish her work. I am going to take her journals, and I am going to try to solve the equation she was working on in 1988. I am going to put her name on it. It is the only way I can say thank you. Please don't wait until the attic. Don't wait until the funeral. Honor them now. Love them now, because the person you think is a burden might just be the only reason you are standing. If this story broke your heart like it broke mine, please share it. Share it as a tribute to the silent sacrifices of mothers everywhere. And in the comments, tell me about your mom. Tell me something she did for you that you took for granted. Let's build a monument to them in the comments section. Hit subscribe if you want to hear more stories about the hidden truths of our lives. Thank you for listening, and Mom, if you can hear me. You are not stupid, you are my genius, and I love you.